Since I've got the beverage cracked, I think we're gonna get things rolling here. Welcome, 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 friends. Boom, there we go. Thing I say. We have an intro and an outro now. A thing I say at the beginning and the ends of episodes.
Really?
Hello! She can't leave you alone for a second.
She can't. I was gone for a few days, and I've only been back since yesterday, so heaven forbid she leave me unattended.
No. Oh, no. Yeah, no, my dog had a pretty similar reaction when we all got back from Maine. She was like, "You're back." I'm like, did you really think I would leave you?
And people act like cats are so, like, indifferent and whatnot.
Some are.
Like, well, there's,
but
like,
some dogs are,
like,
too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like any other animal, sure, there's variety, but they act like all cats are the same, and they haven't met her.
She's very clingy.
Speaking of cats and dogs, I finally am able to drive to work now. There's a place where I get to park, and that means I get to bring Echo with me on slower days. So she gets to hang out in the office.
I love it. I absolutely love it. She deserves it.
She did great, honestly. Like, she did really good.
She deserves it.
Her. Yeah. And so now, on, like, slower, shorter days, she gets to come to the office with me.
Oh, best girl.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, we're gonna start with 3 minutes on the clock for a little rant of yours that we have postponed. This is technically a thing that happened like 2 weeks ago at this point, but I think people should know because this was very entertaining for me because you were texting me this in real time as this happened. So just give me a second here. I'm gonna put 3 minutes on the clock for you. Precisely as you told me. And here we go.
All right, gang, here's what was going on. I was going on my run, like I do. And one day, well, 2 weeks ago, I decided to switch it up. And I was like, I'm going to run by, I should know this. It's a memorial. I'm blanking on which one. But I was running by a memorial. And very specifically, it tells you there's a sign that says what you can and cannot do in the memorial. You aren't allowed to eat there, but you are allowed to bike and you are allowed to walk your dog. So you're allowed to run. So I was running through, and there was a group of tourists at this war memorial, all in the same shirt, right? All in the same stupid gray shirt, right? And this one guy breaks from the group, walks towards me as I'm running, arms out like this, yelling at me to walk. And I kid you, this is absolutely true. In one of his hands, he had a Bible that was open with an American flag cover jacket. And he's like walking at me like this. And I ran around him, but I oh my God, I saw red. I get angry about things that happen in the world. I get angry about things that happen like here in government or whatever. But like very rarely do I get personally upset about something that happens to me. But to do that to anybody, just on my run, I'm absolutely allowed to do that. And to oh my God, I was so angry. And so I ran up to DuPont Circle, and then I was like, I wonder if they're still there. Because normally I run up to DuPont Circle and I stop. But I ran back, and I added like 3 miles to my run to see if these stupid people were still there. And here's the thing. I'm sure most of them are like relatively normal people who are on a tourist group, and sure, that's fine. But you don't try to physically stop somebody, especially when one, you look like you are, you know, fragile as fuck, and like a strong breeze would disintegrate you, and then get in somebody's way who is running. That's all. Don't.
30 seconds to spare.
The moral of the story is this. I'm going to use all my time. The moral of the story is this. Do not mess with people who you are not involved with, especially if they're allowed to do what they're doing, and especially if you are holding a Bible with an American flag cover jacket, which violates both rules of the Constitution and the Bible. I'm done.
Perfect!
I told you 3 minutes.
That was a very accurate estimate, honestly. Has this happened before? Like, have you had people put 3 minutes on
No.
the clock before?
Oh, for me, no. I thought you were asking if anybody's tried to stop me while I'm running before.
No, I feel like that had to have been a fresh experience. Otherwise, it would
That
not
was-
have elicited such a strong reaction.
Don't get me wrong. People have asked me to like take their picture while I'm on a run, and it's like, no.
But,
I mean, and here's the thing. Not to continue the rant, but just like as a tangent.
oh, please do.
I don't mind taking people's photos. Like, I get that this is a high traffic like tourist destination. Like absolutely. And there have been times both in Alexandria and DC where I have actually like volunteered to take people's pictures who are clearly trying to get a selfie with them with a memorial or whatever. I'm like, do you want me to take your picture? And it's nice. I don't mind it. But not while I'm running. Do not stop.
Yeah.
Do not talk to me while I'm running.
Yeah.
When I have earbuds in and am clearly struggling to breathe. Like, I am fighting for my life here. Like, do not speak to me. Like, unless I am on fire, don't talk to me.
Very, very valid.
People have asked me on multiple occasions to take a picture of them after a race. And it's like, I'm pouring sweat. Like, I look like I'm half dying. And I'm like, what about me right now makes you think? And
Maybe they think that
sweaty.
you're clearly too tired to run away with their phone/camera.
Well, but they're also going to get my sweat all over it, so.
That's a them
I'm
problem.
like drying my hands off of my clothes. I was like, well, it's going to get sweaty. They're like, that's fine. I'm like, okay. I wouldn't let a stranger sweat on my phone, but alright.
Supposedly, if you start sweating really easily, that means your body is more efficient.
Oh my god, my body is like the fucking industrial revolution. Then
Actually, this was a problem that I encountered in the brief period where I was trying to force myself to be a runner. Like, I would just like I would borderline overheat before I actually before my body would actually start trying to cool itself off, and I don't understand why, because that's not the case when I'm on my bike. Like, I would just get, when I was trying to force myself to be a runner, I would, I ran a couple places in Geneseo, and I would just get so goddamn red. Like, my whole, face and neck, and, I would be dying, and I would just be starting to break a sweat. Like, when I finally reached the end of my run, and it literally never improved. And I don't understand.
I wonder if, your bike is going fast enough that the breeze actually has an impact on your body temperature.
Quite possibly.
At that point, you're going fast enough that you are generating your own breeze. And so...
Yeah. Actually, that's another problem I've been encountering, because I wear my AirPods a lot when I'm on my bike, and it's great. But they're not, they don't have the most perfect, seal, in your ear. So I feel like I need to get, a nice, one of those nice, kind of, Lycra or nylon, workout headband, so I can have it, cover my ears a little, so I get slightly less wind resistance that I can hear.
I hate
and also,
when I'm
this
running.
one always wants to fall out, because it's where I have the daith piercing. Which, whatever, it's the price I pay for looking cool as hell.
I hate when I'm running, and sweat gets between the earbud and the inside of my ear.
Ugh.
And it squelches.
Horrible. 0 out of 10 experience.
Yeah. When you can feel the sweat drip inside of your ear.
Yep. Yeah.
My ear.
No, okay. This is an experience exclusive to some members of society. When you feel the sweat start dripping in between your boobs, horrific. Absolute 0 out of 10 experience. Any person who has ever worn a sports bra knows.
You gotta, peel it off of yourself.
Okay, no. Why is, trying to put on or take off a sports bra, when you are even slightly damp, it is like wrestling with the devil. It does not matter if you have just done, the tiniest bit of, cleaning around your house, and you try to take it off, it will not go.
It is a second layer of skin now. That's your skin.
Yeah, no. It is permanently fused, almost permanently fused to your body. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, if you, like, are wearing one for, like, comfort, like, say, like, you have to go somewhere, but you don't want to put on, like, a real bra, so you put on a sports bra, and, like, you've already showered, so your skin is, like, a little bit damp, that fucker is not going on. It is going to roll up in a million different ways before you get it situated on your body. It's horrible. I hate it. Just let me be comfortable.
And then it's gonna make you feel like you're choking or something, because you're like, it's all about.
Oh my god, I know, they strangle you.
Okay.
Zach's just checking Twitter, because he doesn't know.
No, I'm
Which is so fair.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I cannot relate. So I'm gonna double check the agenda.
Oh, bless.
But
yeah, no, like, it
definitely
chokes you.
relate.
Yeah.
Terrible
Feels
experience.
like you're under attack. It's like you're being attacked. You're like, get this thing off me. Call the police.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were waiting for me to finish with the ABBA lyric for some reason, because I have been listening to a shit ton of ABBA lately.
Alright. I was not, but okay.
Again, indicative of just where I am in my life and how I am as a person. Yeah, sports bras. Not always fun. I think someone needs to invent a better one. It's my hot take. Although I haven't tried any of those ones that, like, zip up in the front. I feel like that might solve a lot of problems.
No, because...
Are you speaking from experience?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, like, there's the top of the zipper and the bottom of the zipper, and they put, like, a little piece of fabric over it that's supposed to protect you from it, but you can still feel it jabbing into your skin.
Fascinating.
Yeah, they're like, oh no, we fixed it, we put a piece of fabric over it, and it's like, that's a thin piece of fabric, I still feel zipper in my, like, in your abdomen and there as well. I hate them.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they're
someone
easier to put on, but...
invent a better one.
Yeah, there's gotta be a better way to do that.
That is my call to action for some sports fashion designer out there. Fix the problem, please.
Future Shark Tank episode.
Literally! I don't think I've ever actually watched a full episode of Shark Tank, but it seems very entertaining.
That's like the mindset that I go into when I was doing job interviews. I would sit down in front of like 3 or 4 people. I'd be like, hello, sharks.
I also don't understand anything about, like, how it works, like, how the investment works. I just know that TikTok sound where it's like someone's making some, like, super ballsy request that they have no like, what I have gathered from the TikTok sound, that's it. Is someone is making some super ballsy investment request of the sharks that they have no basis to be making. That is the only thing I know.
It's genuinely entertaining. Like, it's something that, like, you can watch an episode or two, and then you get the hang of it, and you just put it on in the background, and like.
I love my. Actually, that's a fun question. What are everyone's background shows?
Cheers.
I don't have a background show.
Oh, for a long time it was the X-Files, but then they took it off of Netflix.
I tried to make West Wing a background show, but I keep getting too involved in the plot of whatever episode it is, and I can't not pay
Actually, an
attention.
excellent background show is that show How It's Made, which is
I
just
generally
like...
don't rewatch things because there's so many new things to watch, so I don't have a background show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I rewatch so many
Bridget,
things.
are you...
Oh, she froze.
Oh, that's fun. That's cute. I'm not frozen for myself.
Am I frozen?
No, you're good. Either she's frozen or she's doing a really good mime impression with the shirt and, like, just very good at staying still.
Yeah, very contemplative. Really thinking about whatever it was.
Yeah.
But I already forgot.
This is utterly
I'm waiting for the
fascinating
Sony screen to pop up at any minute.
This is fascinating to me to be able to hear
There she
this.
is.
Oh.
We have movement.
Oh, now these two are frozen. We're doing great. Let's just... Oh. Okay. Great time for Discord to decide not to work. Oh, imagine if the server's down. That'd be depressing. Oh, niet. Alright, Discord status. Okay.
Feels like the teacher's left the room. Oh, teacher's back. I was gonna say we should just like totally go wild.
I don't know what that was about. I could actually hear what you were saying for like a little while, and then you two froze for me, and then I tried to leave the call and rejoin it, and Discord did a quick little update, or like did a quick little reconnect.
Uh-oh.
Were you saying mean things about me? Because I didn't hear everything.
If you can hear us, we cannot really hear what you're saying, and you were frozen again. Oh.
Yeah, no, that was essentially what I heard. Is this still happening? Jesus Christ.
Weird how it catches up rapid fire like that.
Yeah.
Wait,
are we
is
good?
it normal? Oh. For the moment, it's fine, yeah. I don't know, can you not hear us?
I can hear you too.
Okay, then why are you putting a chat message up?
Because you were talking... I don't know, the way you guys were talking, it sounded like I was lagging.
You were definitely lagging.
Okay, cool. I think it's fixed now.
That was wild.
Fingers crossed. Anyway, yeah, background show was the X-Files for a while until they took it off of Netflix, and that show, how it's made, is wonderful, because it's just like, here's how they make a chain link fence, and they just take you through it, and there's like various other random things where like you never really thought about it because it's such a random like everyday household object, but you're just like, oh, this is so nice to have while I'm like puttering around doing chores.
And it's almost always very like satisfying watching the way certain things are like cut or bent, you know, and it's like, oh, look at it, it's just so orderly.
Oh, like the chain link fence one, it was just like this like
when they twist them around.
Yeah, it's not like a chain link, it's like what are they? It's like chicken wire, is what they call it.
Yeah.
That's what. Oh my god, it was so satisfying. But yeah, no, that's a great background show. Schitt's Creek is a great background show. Because if you're like just walking around doing things, they'll like catch you on a like. Your brain will like tune right back in when you hear like a particularly iconic line, especially if you're a person who watches Schitt's Creek over and over again, such as myself.
You do know X-Files is on Hulu, right?
I only recently started stealing Hulu from my Short King.
Nice.
Relationship perks. So maybe that'll become my background show again. But there you have it. You really don't have one.
No, like if I watch TV, I'm sitting down to watch TV.
Fascinating.
If I'm doing something, I'm usually listening to a podcast or music.
Actually, yeah, no, I've been very much on the podcast train for like 2 years now. So maybe that's also part of it.
Always new stuff to listen to.
Mm-hmm. I'm really, really trying to finish working my way through Last Podcast on the Left before September. Ugh.
Yeah, still skipping the side stories so I can try.
Oh, I love the side stories are so goddamn funny sometimes, though.
I'll go back, you know, once I finish the regular episodes. That way I know that I'm ready.
Yeah, that might be smart, but I don't know. I feel like I'm too far in to just stop at this point.
2 months. 2 months left. At which point it will have been almost the whole year since we bought the ticket.
That's fine. That's fine. Alright, I believe the next thing that we actually have scheduled was also, Zach, I believe that's also down to you, as you are the one who sent this to the chat. Would you like to share with the class?
Yes. So, there's a tweet it came across. Stopped me in my tracks.
Beautiful.
Says, your wife is in labor and you're rushing her to the hospital. You get in a cab and it turns out to be the cash cab. Do you play or not? in this, and then it says below, in this tweet, we're also pretending it's 2008 New York City. So.
Okay, fair enough.
So in this scenario, do we have to pretend that we're women with wives, or if we're...
I'm gonna say I'm a
as
woman
long
with a
as you are,
wife.
as long as you are with somebody, your partner is pregnant.
So it's not us, because, you know, okay. Because if I were the one that was pregnant, I would totally play.
Okay, you know what? Baller. Power move.
I think either
As I
way,
refuse to ever reproduce at any point in my life ever, I'm going to assume it's just my partner in this scenario, and would definitely come down to their opinion, but I mean, if they're game, hell yeah, maybe maybe this will provide for our child's future.
I mean, you're gonna be in the car anyway, you might as well try to make money while you're there.
Yeah. Like, I'm assuming you're going, like, more than, like, 1 block.
Can you
like, you are traveling in a cab anyway.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you don't have health insurance and you get in and it's a cash cab and you're like, oh, thank God.
God, what a uniquely American problem.
Right? I can't afford to give...
That's so fucked, but also, like...
So fucked.
It's funny if you don't think about it. Like, it's funny if it was happening in an episode of a TV show.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I were getting in a cab with my pregnant wife and she got mad that I was participating in cash cab, I don't think I'd want to be married to that person.
You're okay, that's so valid, though, is the thing.
It's like, when's the next time you're going to get in the cash cab?
Yeah, and also, like, college fund for our child. Hello?
Yeah. You're ahead of the game.
Precisely!
So, like, hold her hand to be supportive while playing.
Yeah.
Right. But, like, you are preemptively, like, the kid hasn't even dropped yet, and you are already prepping.
This is a sitcom episode, by the way. If it hasn't been written already, it is, like, someone is writing it now.
If Cash Cab existed during Seinfeld, like, during, like, the late 90s...
No, oh my god, we were talking about this right before we started recording. That whole Twitter meme that's been going on right now of she's a 10, but every single one of those is the plot to a Seinfeld episode.
No, literally.
It's like...
I was watching some TV show where they actually did end up getting in the cash cab. What show was that?
I don't know. What shows have you been watching recently?
It wasn't super recently. That makes it a lot harder.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, that does not narrow it down for us.
Man, I'll have to look it up later.
Yeah, I feel like that has to be some sort of generic type of sitcom.
I don't know. I mean, it was definitely the cash cab with Ben Bailey and everything.
Oh, interesting.
So. Well, that's gonna bother me.
That is such a 2008 thing. Like, aggressively early aughts.
I've talked to that guy before.
Have you?
Host, yeah. The agency I worked for in Chicago represented him.
I forgot you had that whole little side quest as, like...
Yeah, where I was going into the entertainment business and I realized it was actually more boring than I would ever think. You just spend all day miserable.
Yeah, no, as a person who is even just running this, which is by no means a, like, successful entertainment business, it's a lot of emails. It's a lot of emails, and we have maybe 50 people and a shoelace listening to us. And we love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much. But, even just that is a lot of emails. I cannot imagine working with people who are, like, quantifiably, objectively successful by, like, societal standards.
I actually repeatedly tried to call Kevin Hart because he was also at our agency at the time, and it was so hard to get a hold of him.
Fascinating. Do you have any other little brushes with fame that you would like to share?
that are popping to mind at the moment. Kevin Hart's probably the most famous, but he wasn't famous back then, so yeah, it wasn't really a thing.
My sister and I my whole family actually ran into Jimmy Fallon at a ski lodge in like the early 2010s, or like the early to mid 2010s. I don't remember precisely when it was, but my mom almost took his eye out with a ski pole on the shuttle. So she went up to him to apologize. So at least there's that.
Yeah.
And my sister met Joe Keery from Stranger Things at a Rolling Stones concert.
Okay, that's a weird sentence.
I was supposed to be the one at that Rolling Stones concert because it had been postponed because Mick Jagger had heart surgery.
Not funny.
Yeah.
Not funny. And by the time that they rescheduled the concert, I was in Russia. So my sister took my ticket. They were in the pit at a Rolling Stones concert, and she met Joe Keery. And, like, yes, I was studying abroad and I had an absolutely wonderful time, but, like, I'm a little salty.
It would be too.
But that's how it is on this bitch of an earth.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, no. Definitely play the cash cab. I am starting my child's college fund now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think anybody who would say no to that is really just no fun and need to question their priorities.
You're so right. You are so right.
I think that's almost like a good screening question, because you're like, if you're looking at
you're so right.
Something even, or friends, you know, like, do I want to form any kind of relationship with you? If you got in a cab.
No, actually, like, if you are actually, like, if you are a person who is, like, in the, like, thinking about, like, actually, like, having children someday, and are screening people to potentially have those children with, ask them this question.
Yeah.
And if their answer does not match yours, move on.
Yeah. I mean, if the answer is no, I think they take life a bit too seriously.
People
but I feel like
all the time.
First of all, you're so right. And second of all, I think people who take life too seriously need to be together. Because then they're just sucking the joy out of things for the rest of us.
Oh my god, they are their own little Colin Robinsons. I'm doing references now.
Yes! Oh, he's killing it. And we don't even need to bully him this episode.
Nice!
Because it's finally happened. Colin Robinson, my beloved.
He is the best.
He honestly, okay, I don't know to the extent you guys know Cheers, but he reminds me of Cliff Clavin from Cheers.
I know almost nothing about Cheers except that Ted Danson was on it.
Okay.
I watched it growing up.
Okay. Cliff Clavin was like that know-it-all mailman who always has the most random, obscure bullshit facts that nobody wants to.
Yeah, no, that's Colin Robinson energy.
It's like if Colin Robinson had a Boston accent, it would be the same person.
Okay,
Maybe he was an energy vampire.
He what?
Maybe he was an energy vampire.
Maybe he was.
You're so right. Yeah, no, actually, quick tangent. I literally, first episode, I was like, oh god, like, this guy, he's gonna pop up every, like, you know, I'm just gonna have to deal with this guy being in the show. Did not expect Colin Robinson to grow on me in the way that he did. I love Colin Robinson. It's also illegal to refer to him as just Colin.
But they did. Sorry.
When?
The thing that you sent me. That's what I was trying to remember exactly. Like, yesterday or the day before, you sent me a thing, a clip, where somebody referred to him as Colin, and it said, "Don't call him Colin."
I am 99% sure you are misremembering, and they do, in fact, say, I'm not.
Laszlo said, "I don't call him Colin," or something like that.
Oh.
It only said Colin and not Colin.
Oh, ew, that's illegal. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's why I noticed it. Anyway.
I love every single person in that show so much, but again, I was not expecting Colin Robinson to grow on me in the way that he did. When I first started that show, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to deal with this guy popping up every, like, couple episodes, and I was like, nope, I love him. He's great.
enjoying my rewatch because there were so many things I forgot, watching it when it aired, so it's been a few years since I've seen some of the episodes, and I was like, man, I forgot about some of this stuff, and
Oh my god, I know. I'm probably gonna do some ridiculous, like, binge while I'm, breaking down my room because I'm finally moving. Yay!
Yeah.
Which means that you guys actually get to come visit sometime in the near future. Super exciting. But yeah, no, that show is definitely gonna be on in the background while I'm like boxing up all my shit.
I forgot I meant to start by joining the Discord and saying dark greetings.
Oh my god, we did forget about that. Oh, that's okay. That's how we can start the streams.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
I never did make dark greetings.
Perfect.
I love that episode so much.
Was that me?
No, that was me. Sorry, I forgot to start.
Oh, okay.
I always tell myself I'm gonna turn it off, and then I never do. I'm great at lying to myself. Or just at forgetting things. Second beverage.
What's that TikTok where you have like three beverages, one for energy, one for hydration, and one for fun?
Wait, actually, hold on. You need to send me that. Why are you so right?
You always have 3 beverages going at once.
Literally, 99% of the time, I am like triple wielding liquids.
Yeah.
Like, I have my hydro flask that is always filled because I am obsessively I'd be drinking water.
Hydration.
We're gonna call this one for energy. At this
Interesting.
point.
I was going to put that under fun.
It was a depressant, not a,
But, like, you know how, like, you have your weird, like, physically, actually, yes, it is a depressant, but you know how you have your, like, weird, like, drunk, like, vibe? Like, it gives you a particular vibe. Because here's the thing, I am not getting energy from this. It is simply just bubbly water.
That was one of your seltz, or, like, one of the caffeinated seltzers. Because if that was a caffeinated seltzer, that's your energy, your water.
That's the one that's for energy, but no, this is the one that's just for fun, because it's literally just cranberry lime flavored bubbles. This one is giving me a vibe, at the very least, whether or not it is actually a stimulant.
Well, there you go. Hydration, energy, fun.
Precisely. But also...
So maybe there needs to be a modification where it's not energy, but it's like, a vibe creator. Because maybe the vibe is, it's morning and I need more energy.
Yeah.
Focus.
Often for me, it's water for hydration, tea for energy, and then some form of seltzer for funsies. Again, I've said it before on this podcast many, many times. I will say it again. I'm simply a beverage woman.
I saw this thing, speaking of kids and, women, where it was like a couple or something, and they were like the wife was pregnant, and they were like, we know the gender is like female, but every time somebody asks us what the sex is, we say that we're having a woman.
People hate it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I do hate it, but like saying it like that is hysterical because it's such a power move.
Yeah, no, if I ever end up having like a kid, that's 100%. Like, I want to know the gender specifically just to mess with people so badly.
That's actually so
like,
funny.
Oh, we're having a man.
Yeah, it's terrible. I hate it. I also love those videos where like I think a lot of gender reveals are very stupid, especially the way where people are trying to just do it bigger and bigger. Like, if this is really something you would like to, like, celebrate as a, milestone in starting your family, just cut a cake.
How was the original one?
Yeah, like, just pull some confetti poppers. It doesn't have to be insane, but it is so fucking funny to me when whoever was tasked with, like, ordering the, like, little, like, the like confetti poppers or like making the or like it's usually something that like had to be ordered because the company is what fucks it up, but they'll like pop the little sparkler or whatever, and then they're like, wait, no, like they sent the wrong one. Those are so funny. Like, it's kind of terrible, but they're so funny.
Yeah. But also, if you are so Oh, that sounds a lot less fun.
I'm great. I'm just choking on water. Alright, I am fine.
I don't know. I think that the people starting forest fires deserve to be messed with.
Oh, 100%. But if you're just gonna, like, pop a balloon and let some confetti fall out of it, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think it's dumb, but, like, I personally think a lot of things are dumb and people still do them and enjoy them, whatever. A lot of things I do are things that people think are dumb.
Yeah, like, now I'm really thinking about this. I think if you would say any word other than girl or boy, it would be weird. Cause, like,
yeah, it's deeply
like, what's the gender of
weird.
your baby? Like, female? Like, that feels weird?
I mean, unless someone specifically asks it in, like, a very medical-sounding way, any response other than boy or girl is super weird. And also, if you're not a doctor, why are you asking it in such a medical-sounding context?
Yeah.
And technically, gender would be masculine or feminine. So,
Yeah.
what do you have? Masculine baby.
Oh my god, yes. There's another way you can mess with people. Do that.
Oh. Our baby is femme. Femme baby.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm done.
On that incredible note, let's move right along.
Our baby presents femme. I don't know, I feel like you could just, like, have so much fun with this.
Oh, no, yeah, there's definitely room to make people very, very uncomfortable.
Well, with gender, the answer would be, well, I don't know yet. But biologically...
It's a woman.
Just not wrong.
I mean, yeah, they're not. Alright, let's switch direction here. Would you rather be a... Sorry, I don't know how to move on from... I don't know how to classily move on from this. Would you rather be able to pause, rewind, or fast forward time?
Okay, so I've definitely thought about this before.
Okay.
There's definitely moments where I wish life had a pause button, where, like, I'm still sentient and conscious, but, like, everything else around me stops moving, and I can kind of, like, regroup and take stock, because sometimes it feels like my brain is just dragging the rest of me behind it. Mm-hmm. There are other times, like, okay, this is about to get really serious, but there's other times where, like, I wish I could not go to the future, but, like, just, like, know everything's gonna work out. Like, I don't mind going through the trials and tribulations that come with it. I just want to know that it's gonna be worth it.
I do get that, because sometimes shit is boring. If you have an extremely boring week leading up to, like, a party weekend with your friends, I understand the impulse to want to be able to just be like, all right, let's go. But I personally, for myself, the ability to rewind or fast forward time is far too dangerous for my anxious OCD brain to have. I know this about myself. Pause. That is what I would choose, because I could use it to, like... That would take away so much of my anxiety.
Wait, can I say one more?
The other two would just create... Yes, you can. But the other two would just create more anxiety for me.
I feel like also knowing my OCD self, knowing how I have to check doors to make sure that they're locked, knowing that, like, my volume has to be set to, like, intervals of 5. I would need to...
me too with the intervals of 5.
Yeah. No, I would have to fast forward to 800 hours exactly. If it is 800 hours and, like, 2 seconds, like, nope, redo it. Like,
exactly. And, like, what if I miss something? Like, what if I fast forward too far? Because it sounds like you only get one. And, like, what if I rewind too far and, like, have to, like, you know, I, like, have to do a boring week twice?
Also, do you carry all the information you have with you if you rewind? Like, do you remember everything? Like, if you rewind 10 years back, do you know that, like, you eventually work on a canal? Or is that just, like, not even an idea in your head?
I'm going to assume yes.
Okay.
Just because this is just a would you rather from a Reddit post. They don't really get into the, like, hyper specifics of it all that much, so I'm just going to assume whatever makes the conversation most interesting.
But there's also some ages and just, like, some experiences where, like, I would rather not know the future and, like, just to relive those.
Oh
just
God,
like
yeah.
very simple, very very happy times that would be ruined if I carried with me all the information I have now.
Oh
And Brooks,
yeah,
I'm so
no.
sorry. I know you have thoughts on this, and I keep talking, but like, I feel like there are times to rewind where like I would want to have all the information that I have so that I can maybe like
Make
do
a
things.
more informed decision.
Yeah, but then there's other times where it's like, no, I want to rewind just to relive this moment, and I don't want the baggage that comes with like being
Mm-hmm.
an adult. That's all.
Keeping in mind that if you rewind and relive that moment, you don't have the ability to fast forward back to where you were. So you're reliving however much time all over again. And if you are reliving all that time over again and you have no memories of what happened the first time, your life could turn out totally differently because you're changing the past.
Yeah, no, either forward or backward is far too dangerous of an ability for me to have. Pausing time all the way.
Yeah, because even fast forwarding, you don't know what it is you're fast forwarding past.
Yeah.
I feel like every experience has value, even if it is something that's boring, or even if you feel like you can't wait until some party or something. Like, still life.
You know what's crazy too is like you can't like pause time, but you can like reverse pause it, where like the space where like you go far out into space enough, and then like you like every 20 minutes is like a year on Earth. Like you can reverse that and like pause your own growth, and everybody else keeps moving. Like, which is so crazy to me, but
science is so weird. My brain is too small to understand it. Or to like, I mean, not that we even understand it, but to like conceptualize some of those things in any sort of concrete way.
Yeah.
I mean, still feel like it has to be pausing. You know?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Because I've definitely had that thought sometimes, and it's like, okay, stuff, you just need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Catch my breath, gather my thoughts.
No, literally, this is a problem I've been having so much lately. They need to stop making movies until I can catch up. God damn it. There's too many.
There should be a fourth option, which is like not pause but slow down. Just like it's not pause.
Unfortunately, we are not given that option.
It's slow motion, right? Like life just kind of slow plays for a bit.
I mean, that would be
really pretty.
That would be banger, but again, of the options I'm being presented, I'm definitely gonna go with the ability to pause time.
So everybody else is moving in slow motion except for you?
Yeah.
And so you would just look like the Flash?
Yeah. Possibly. Now we're talking.
Hell yeah. Fun little moment of unanimous agreement there.
Yeah. No. If that were me, I wouldn't be the Flash. I would be the Matrix. I would like.
Oh, you'd be like Neo?
Yeah. I'd be like, go ahead, take a swing at me, and then.
I still haven't seen the new Matrix.
I only saw the first one.
I've only ever seen the first one. I feel like, just as like a film person, maybe I should watch the second one, just because culturally that entire trilogy made such an impact. But I don't know.
I mean, there's like a whole thought experiment philosophy, like a major thought experiment philosophy based around the Matrix.
Oh God, yeah. So maybe I'll get around to that eventually. But enough about the Matrix. Our last question: do we believe the conspiracy theory that rocks are soft until something touches them?
What is the basis to that? Because to that conspiracy theory,
it's not much of an actual conspiracy. It's just like
no. I'm not saying it's an actual one, but like, is it from a tweet or is it just like a Reddit post?
I'm pretty sure it's from a Tumblr shit post. Okay. It was like, what if rocks are soft until we touch them? Because like, who would know?
I mean, it sounds like the Toy Story thing, right? Like our toys alive until we show up. Like,
precisely. I think it's fun to think about.
How physics works.
Do I look like I know how physics works? I almost failed my high school physics class.
I never took a physics class in my life.
I saw
God,
this...
I wish I were you.
I
tanked my grade senior year.
I saw this TikTok, and the guy standing by a wall, and he's just like, when you trying to catch the atoms lacking, and he's like...
No, okay, literally, the thing is, though, technically, if you were to just do this enough times, it would align perfectly so that your hand would go through it. And I stay awake at night thinking about, like, wondering if maybe some of the various unexplained, like, disappearances of history like, you know, these like famous cases of people who just sort of vanish into thin air. What if they are an example of that 1 in a trillion chance where they just stepped onto the ground, like, you know, the parents' back was turned or whatever, and they just stepped onto the ground in that perfect alignment where they just went through it? What if I stay awake at night thinking about this? Because the universe has existed. Like, the existence of the universe is infinite. So, theoretically, everything that can happen is going to happen at some point. I feel like that has to be the cult. And maybe it's not on that big of a scale, but, like, where you swear you put something down somewhere, what if, and, like, you lose it, what if that's just that 1 in a trillion, like, you know, 1 in however many trillion chance that when you, like, you know, if you slam your hand into a wall enough times, eventually the atoms are going to line up perfectly that your hand goes through the wall. What if that's what happened to whatever person's favorite pen in 1847 and they never found it again?
So...
it's possible. Okay, both of you, go ahead.
I was just wondering if maybe that's what happened to Brian Schaeffer, who disappeared in 2006. This is one of those disappearance stories that really bothers me.
Wait, hold on, let me Google this. I haven't actually heard of this. Yeah. Or maybe I have, I just don't know the name.
Yeah, so Brian Schaeffer, he was 27 in 2006, he disappeared. And part of the reason this particular case has stuck with me is because he disappeared from a bar by the Ohio State campus, one that I've personally been to many times. And they have video footage of him going into the bar, but no video footage of him leaving.
What if he was that 1 in whatever trillion chance where the man just clipped through the wall?
Yeah, I mean, they've been investigating this thing for like years. People have torn it apart. They cannot figure out how he could have gotten out of that building without being caught on camera.
That is insane.
I think the more local version of this that Brooks probably won't know, but Bridget would know, is the Craig Frear case. Do you not know about Craig Frear?
I might know the case and not know the name. Hold on.
Maybe this is just a Schenectady thing then. I mean, posters have been up for this kid forever. Like, probably since around that same time, honestly. When did he... 2004 is when he disappeared. He was like... I forget the story. He was walking, like, cutting home, like, from school or a restaurant or something to home, and he's like walking through the woods and just like never
like I have a Times Union article which I will be linking.
Yeah.
Our local newspaper.
Sometimes like that you could at least come up with an explanation, like someone was in the woods and they grabbed him.
Yeah, right. No, the Brian Schaeffer, like,
really because he should have been on camera.
Like, if there's physically no way for him to get out of the building without being, again, it's one of those things where it's like, what if he just clipped through the universe?
Yeah, and to add a layer on top of it, so the bar that he disappeared from is called the Ugly Tuna Saloona.
Love it.
But it's on the second floor of a building. So it's like, kind of hard to explain. So there's like a Mad Max on the bottom floor and the Ugly Tuna is above it. But to get to it, you have to go inside the building next door and go up an escalator and then make a right at the escalator. So it's not even like he could have climbed out a window. It's on the second floor of a building. And the only way in or out is to go through that building and down the escalator.
I mean, theoretically, so really could have climbed out a window, but, like, I get what you're saying.
There's cameras out there. There's still cameras. But it's not like there's a back door or, you know.
It's been a hot second since we dropped the Psych reference, but do you remember that episode of The Mummy in the museum and Sean and Gus are messing with the camera angles and trying to figure out how they weren't seen? Yeah.
He was convinced you couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Actually, that just reminded me, when I was in high school, I took a forensics class, and this one definitely made national headlines. Brooks, have you ever heard of the Christopher Porco case? The kid who, like, he, like, murdered his, he, like, drove back from college in a fucking yellow Jeep Wrangler. The least inconspicuous car imaginable. and fucking murked, or actually his mom's still alive, but he tried to murk both of his parents with an axe, and he succeeded in killing his father. But, like, this FBI agent who had worked on the case came and, like, gave a presentation to the forensics class at my high school, and they were, like, trying to figure out if this guy, because they had, like, the campus that he had driven home from, I can't remember exactly where it was, but it had, like, these, like, security cameras that would, like, sweep various areas. So, like, the cameras would move, they weren't stationary. So the guy who happened to be giving this presentation was like, oh, they're trying to figure out, like, could someone have gotten lucky or timed it so that they, like, wouldn't be caught by the cameras as they were in motion. And he was the guy who had to, like, lace up his running shoes and, like, test it out several different ways. And it just made me think about that, because, like, you were talking about how there's, like, no way that he could have gotten out of there, like, and not have been caught on camera.
Yeah, there's a podcast I listen to sometimes called True Crime Garage. It's just a couple of guys who drink beer and in a garage and talk about true crime stories. That's well researched and everything. But they cover a lot
in a universe like one floor above this one. That's us. We started a true crime podcast. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, I love that. But yeah, they cover a lot of missing persons cases, and they have a pretty good in-depth, I think it's 2-part series on the Brian Schaeffer case.
Ooh.
But that happened like 2 years before I moved there. I moved there in 2008. But the weird thing is, so his dad was like tireless in trying to find his son, right? Just like constantly on it, pushing police, the public, and all that. The day after I moved there, literally the day after I moved there, a Saturday, the next day was a Sunday, we had an insane windstorm. I believe I'd mentioned before how it knocked out my power for like a week.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
Downed a huge tree in front of my apartment, like I hadn't even been there 24 hours. His father was killed in that windstorm.
Oh my god.
Which I didn't find out till much later. I was like,
There are several conspiracy theories, like, percolating in there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That is
I was like, oh my god, I know that storm. I just moved there. All my food had to be thrown away that I just bought.
Actually, I really would like to reach out to Last Podcast on the Left about doing something about the Christopher Porco case.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that could be very interesting.
Yeah,
maybe we'll get there. Maybe we'll get there someday. Who knows? How did we get... Oh, yeah, clipping through the walls of the universe and rocks being soft until we touch them.
The Brian Schaeffer might have gone into. No.
There we go. Yeah, I love those things where it's like you can't prove otherwise. I like to think about them. They're very entertaining to me, even though I know that, like, you know, the laws of the universe do say X, Y, or, like, our provable theories of the laws of the universe do say X, Y, and Z, but, like, we can't prove the negative. And I think about that a lot. Everything could be soft until you touch it.
So kind of stuff we don't know, and things that we think we know we end up being wrong about.
Precisely.
Apparently, his dad repeatedly refused to take a lie detector test. Now I'm just, like, reading about this, but,
I love a good true crime rabbit hole.
Yeah. This is so interesting. Brian Schaeffer's dad.
Christopher Porco's dad is dead, so...
Oh, yeah.
That was also an example case in my forensic class where we talked about, Bloodstain Analysis. Because, this is, like, gross, but kind of interesting. Like, their son tried to, like, kill them both with an axe, and his dad didn't die right away. He, like, got up, like, he was, like, severely, like, severe, like, head trauma, but he, like, got up and, like, attempted to go about his morning routine, and the, like, investigators were able to piece this together by, like, following the trail of, like, the trail of blood that this man left, like, from his bed where he had, like, where Christopher Porco had tried to kill him, to, like, the treadmill, to the kitchen. So this guy, was not fully functioning, but he, like, went and stood on the treadmill for a little while, and there was, like, you know, a puddle there, essentially, and then went back up into the kitchen and, like, stood in front of the coffee maker for it's insane how, like, if something, like, how something like that can happen, but your brain still just tries to, like, fill in with, like, routine. Super interesting case. Anyone who is interested in true crime and has not heard of that case, highly recommend giving it a Google. And again, I would love to, like, talk to the Last Podcast boys about that whole thing, because it's nuts.
Like, several podcasts have covered that particular case, but it hasn't been a True Crime Garage, which I find surprising.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a weird upstate New York joke, almost, when you see a yellow Jeep Wrangler to, like, bring up that case, which is, like, kind of fucked, but, like, it's a local thing.
Did this case take place in upstate New York?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Let me, hold on.
Ted Bundy drove a yellow Volkswagen Beetle, which you think would have been a bit more of a giveaway, but...
Like, Christopher Porco's mom, who is still alive, like, taught one of my cousin's friends in Sunday school, like... Where was this? Hold up. Yeah, Delmar, New York, where my dad grew up.
Wait, where?
Delmar.
Delmar?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like, it's
That's
wild. Again, worth a Google for anyone who loves a good true crime rabbit hole. It is gruesome, but it is very interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. Still thinking about this.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna be, like, looking for, like, YouTube videos of, like, theories. Yeah.
Well, because now my brain is like, okay, if he didn't go out the side, did he go up or down? Like, is there, like, was there a helicopter? Like, do they have, like, camera views of the sky? Or like...
Could my man have, like, crawled through a vent?
Yeah.
I mean, there are theories, for sure.
I'm gonna be Googling many of them tonight.
Everybody's thought of all of these that I'm thinking of now. But, like, now it's just, like, a new thing for my brain to, like, turn over in my head.
I know. Like, things where you, like, can't prove a negative, which is why I brought up this whole, like, rocks are soft until we touch them. Absolutely fascinating to me, because you can think about it forever.
Yeah.
There's this Hulu original show, actually. This is, like, slightly tangential. It's called Devs, and it's pretty good. I watched the whole it's like a miniseries. I watched the whole thing with Kyle. What's his face? Ron Swanson. What's the actor's name?
Nick Offerman.
He's in it doing a pretty serious role, and he honestly crushes it. But it's based on this whole thing that, like, you can mathematically predict everything that's going to happen in the universe. It's absolutely fascinating, because for a while they make, like, obviously you can't, but, like, they make a very convincing argument. It was whack to think about. I was, like, watching it and I was like, my brain hurts. So yeah, check out Devs. It's pretty cool.
I mean, the libertarian sense of free will that we intuitively think about just, like, is not a thing. Like, at all.
But yeah, it was this fascinating thing about this, like, tech startup that was, like, essentially, like, creating an algorithm that could, like, predict anything that, like, has ever, will ever, could ever happen. Super cool shit. If you're looking for some fun, heavy sci-fi, I recommend.
Oh, this is okay. Sorry, I thought we were like.
I mean, we're having a pretty sci-fi conversation.
Yeah.
At least at this point.
No. Yeah.
Again, if you're interested in the Brian Schaeffer case, True Crime Garage does several, like, deep dive type episodes.
Oh yeah, no, that is the thing I'm going to immediately be Googling as soon as we're done recording this episode.
I mean, that show isn't as funny as Last Pod.
It's hard to be as funny as the boys.
Yeah, they're a bit more straightforward, but I just love them. I find them very charming. And there's a beer of the week every week, and
that's super fun. You know, sometimes you want straightforward. Sometimes you just want the facts.
Yeah, and they do, especially the captain. He doesn't go by his actual name; he's just the captain.
Love it.
Gets increasingly drunk sometimes.
Okay, King, pop off.
Yeah,
That's actually yeah.
Yeah,
I might check that out. We will. I'll link. I'll link that episode of the podcast in the description of this on YouTube and Spotify for anybody who's interested. All right.
I think it was actually one of their very first episodes, but they went back and like revisited it and did it more deeply later on because in the early days they weren't quite as in depth, just like last pod.
No, I'm like slow. I'm like approaching the point where they like go back and do Heaven's Gate again because they didn't like they. It was technically one of their first in-depth episodes, but nowhere near as in-depth as the things they do now. So I'm like, because the whole Heaven's Gate thing is wild.
I know I probably mentioned this bit before, but if you both have like additional monitors that you can look it up real quick, just like the Heaven's Gate website is still up.
No, it's still there.
Like
it is still up
like
there
unchanged. Yeah, it has not changed at all since they first made it, and it's so crazy that like.
I know, it's so aggressively 90s.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like
yeah.
It is so aggressively like beginning of the internet as a public entity, not just like things that like something that like military computers were using to talk to each other. It's wild.
Oh. Speaking of this, and kind of like tying it back to my own job, I guess. Jackie Spear is a member of Congress from California. She chairs one of the subcommittees on the committee that I work for. But she is a survivor of Jonestown. Like, she's a Jonestown survivor.
No, fuck it. Like, was she like a child of a cult? Like, what details do you have here, bud?
I have no idea. Huh? Yeah, no. I have no idea. I have no idea if she was actually in South America. I mean, she was probably a kid.
Because there was a point where, like, and this is how they suck you in, but there was a point where Jim Jones was, like, doing a lot of, like, quantifiable good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's how he got people. Like, or I remember listening to the last podcast series about him where he was, like, he would, like, go into, like, these, like, poor black communities and be like, I will help you draft a letter to the electric company to get your lights turned back on. And that's how he got people.
Okay, so she was an adult. She was like in her 30s, and she was shot 5 times.
Oh my god!
In an ambush by Jonestown cult members.
So wait, was she like associated with the senator that was, or the congressperson? I guess I can't remember if it was a senator or representative or whatever. But the like congressperson.
She worked for him.
So that like she wasn't like a cult member.
I'm literally learning this like in real time. Like I knew
insane.
I knew that she was a survivor and that's it. But
so like not like a former cult member that survived.
No, she wasn't a cult member. She was apparently on the trip with him with Congressman Lee O'Ryan.
Wow.
And was shot when they shot at him.
Holy shit.
This is, oh my god.
Literally, Jonestown is such a wild cult because, like, they killed a member of the United States government.
And that was, like, the day they killed themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they thought,
Jonestown is so, like, disturbingly fascinating. Because I cannot, like, there is no example of, like, a larger suicide cult. And
so
again, they killed a member of the United States government.
Yeah.
She ran for his seat a year after, but lost, and then served 6 years on the I don't actually know how to say this, County Board of Supervisors, and then 18 years in California State Legislature, and then elected in 2008 in the seat that her old boss had.
Wow.
That's
wild. So wild.
Holy shit, dude. That's insane.
That's so crazy. I knew she was a survivor, and that's all I knew.
Damn.
I want to amend my previous statement when I said they killed themselves, because not all of them did.
Yes.
Yep.
Many people at Jonestown were murdered.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no.
Brooks,
Some of them are forced.
I'm assuming I know the answer to this as you're a fellow Last Podcast person. So, Zach, have you ever listened to, like, either the entire or any sections of, like, the Jonestown death tape?
Listen to him speak in South America. I don't know if it was that specifically. It could have been. But I've heard some of the things, like, some of the recordings.
Disturbingly fascinating, like, how, like, Jim Jones as a speaker, like, sucks you in. Even if you go into it knowing, like, this is, like, someone manipulating people into taking their own lives. Like, you listen to it and you, like get sucked into, like, the rhythm of the way it's
I mean,
like,
you actually
terrifying.
hear the people dying in the background,
Yeah,
like kids crying.
It is terrifying.
Quieter and quieter, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, wait, so were these the tapes that he recorded when? That
While they were dying.
Like, as the, like, planned ritual mass suicide was taking place. It's insane.
Okay.
And also,
I know that like they did practice runs, right, where they like convinced people that they were taking the poison, and then
and that's why so many people went along with it. Like, of the people that did go along with it, that's why so many did. They were like, oh, okay, like, you know,
we call them the White Knights.
Yeah.
You know what else is so disturbing? The reason in like. And this is about to get really dark really quick, but like the executions that terrorist groups do publicly, the reason why the prisoners are so calm is because they're told that like they're just going to shoot a video and then go home. Well, not go home, but go back to wherever they're coming from, and that's why they just sit there. And like, I mean,
like that's incredibly disturbing, but like logistically, it also kind of does make sense. Like, if you don't have someone like actively trying to fight you, which again is absolutely horrific, but like it makes logical sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, yeah, that's why he like had so many practice runs for it, so people would be acclimated to it.
Although, to be fair, with Jonestown, like after they saw the first few people drop,
then people knew there was a problem. But also, like, the fact that people still, like, obviously not everybody, but like people saw other people drop and still voluntarily went up and were like, yep, me next.
They chose.
Like, utterly insane.
Yeah.
Such a fascinating case to read about.
It really is.
Have either of you watched Waco on Netflix?
Yes, I binged the entire thing in one night.
Oh yeah, no.
Stayed up until like 6 a.m.
I think I watched. If I didn't watch it in one day, I watched it in two. Like,
yeah,
like,
no, that's another thing that's nuts.
Yeah.
And the most annoying thing about having like parents who have lived through a lot of historical events, they weren't paying attention to any of the ones that I find most interesting. Like, I asked my mom, like, if she heard about, like, you know, the Chernobyl incident, like, on the news. She's like, oh yeah, I wasn't really paying attention. I'm like, girl, what? How were you not paying attention at the height of the Cold War? Same thing. Like, I'll ask my dad. I was like, "Oh, you remember like seeing like things about Waco on the news?" He was like, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, "That's it? That's all you have to say?"
My dad grew up in Fort Lee, New Jersey, which is literally right across the river from Manhattan. Like you're on the water, you can see the skyline. It's right there. And he grew up there during like Son of Sam, and he was like. And he was like, yeah, like he was a kid, but he was like, we all knew that was the like you don't go into New York time of you know.
That's so whack.
Like you just don't travel there.
Oh my god, have you guys seen the tweet that was like, my mom used to make me pump her gas while the DC sniper was active?
Like, so bad.
I know.
He would have been safe from the Son of Sam. Son of Sam had a specific type.
Yeah.
That's why women were like cutting and dyeing their hair, wearing wigs.
Yeah. But also,
so
I don't think that that's a time where you go like, oh, he's like, I'm not gonna take that chance.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get that. But yeah, no, I'll find that tweet because the first time I saw that, I was on the floor. Similar vein to the like Happy Mother's Day to the woman who called the cops on me because she thought I snuck out, but I was just downstairs eating cereal and also 22. I'll find both of those. Now that we've brought it back around to comedy.
I found it. I found the tweet.
Hit me with it.
Oh, it's from a Twitter account that no longer exists, but if you Google it, it'll come up.
Okay, yeah.
But that's so terrible.
Oh my god. Okay, I think that... Now that we've brought it back around to humor, I think this is a good note for us to end on. Didn't feel right.
No, sorry. The original tweet said, "What's the story you can't wait to tell your grandkids?" Then that was the reply.
Oh my god. It didn't feel right to just end after talking about Jonestown, but now that we're here...
Yeah.
Now that we're here, I think we're okay. Oh my god. Alright. We'll be back again next week. Thank you, as always, friends, for fighting with us. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Adios.
This week's episode of the Fighting with Friends podcast was hosted by Bridget Kelly, Zach Calderon, and Dr. Sarah Brooks. You can find other episodes of the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or your other favorite listening platform. Follow us on Twitter at BridgetKelly98, at Zach Calderon, and at AnnSarahSaid. Rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice. Like, comment, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, and join our Discord community using the links in the description. You can also help support us via the Acast supporter feature, or consider donating to our Patreon. Thanks for listening.